Hey Spinnies, got some alone time again, so you know what that means. Update. First before I get into today's topic, I just want to sit here and celebrate because I just got my ears pierced. Hopefully these bitches will stick. So, today I'm going to talk about bedside manners and doctors. Um, so I've run across some pretty dickish doctors, and I'm sure y'all have too, where they think they're the shit and you don't know anything, even though you've had X amount of years in your own body and become your own doctor with some of your conditions. Doesn't mean that you know everything, but when it comes to those conditions, you pretty much have a PhD. And then I've run across some really sweet doctors and some sweet nurses and some with really great sense of humor, and I love that. I love that type of bedside manner. I'll be talking about the difference between the two today, and also telling you, if you can and you have that dickish type doctor, don't be afraid to shop around for a doctor that's going to vibe with you, because if your doctor doesn't vibe with you, it's just going to fuck up your healthcare. Trust me. So we're going to start with the asshole doctors. First one I came across, she was just, ugh. So, I live in a small, much heard of town, and it's pretty much a farming town where we're kind of country and rural. So, yeah. Sometimes we have to travel through different counties for the specialists because our town is just a little too tiny to hold them, I guess. Who knows? So with her, I was just trying birth control. I was just, getting a little bit more involved with my own care. So I was like 18 or so, 17, 18. And the one birth control for my PCOS damn near sent me to the hospital for bleeding out. The other one she had me on didn't do shit. And every time I saw her, it was just like I felt like a 2-year-old. So this one particular appointment, I came in to tell her that I want off of this birth control that almost sent me to the ER for bleeding out. And it was a bad hip day, so I couldn't bend down and tie my shoes. I could barely bend, period. Which is why I developed the adaptation of picking things up with my toes. Freaked poor kitty out the first time I did it in front of him. But, so I wore my flip-flops. I have shoes that I can easily slip into on the days that I just cannot tie my shoelaces and get in the position to tie my shoelaces. I still do. And she spent the entire duration of our appointment not talking about the birth control, or not talking about the birth control she wanted to try next, but on my shoes. You need to wear proper shoes. Blah, 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 blah. And I told her, and I explained to her, today was just one of those days where I could not get in position to put on my tennis shoes. That's it. There are going to be those days. And then there are going to be those days where I can wear my wedge sandals, no problem. It's random. Anyways, really, really disliked her. Really disliked her. She, you can obviously tell she didn't want to be here. She said she didn't want to be here. She didn't trust any of the doctors here. None of them. Sorry. I'm parked down the one-way street right now. So, she flat out said she didn't trust any of the local doctors. And, wanted to send me to San Francisco. Well, that's a 2-hour drive, and back then none of our cars that we had would make it. She just, I wasn't getting the care I needed. Like, no one was trying to find the extra loopholes to help me. It was just like, it was the weight factor. Like, she jumped on my weight, she jumped on my shoes, she jumped on everything but what the appointment was supposed to be. There are doctors like that that shouldn't be practicing. Okay, I can understand, towards the end of the appointment, okay, honey, you need to wear better shoes. And then let the patient explain. Nah, it was the whole damn appointment. Ugh. Not the reason why I was there, sweetheart. And then there are some nurses. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. This is why I like music. It keeps me from my ooh shiny moments. This one orthopedic, which I can only remember his name because of South Park. I've only watched like 2 episodes, but I watched enough. He freaked me out. He was like, we need to get you in. We need to do surgery right away. And, if we do that, I'm going to send you down to Children's. And, and we told him, it's like, we're going to have to think about this because we're going to have to save up the money to get a hotel. We're going to have to save up the money to rent a car. We're going to have to, I know my hip's bone on bone, and I know that, eventually, yes, I'm going to need surgery. It's just going to depend on how much pain I can tolerate. Anyways, so the next day, my Nana and I were at Michael's, and she gets the call on her phone saying, well, here's your appointment, here's where it's at, and this is the time you need to be there. So my poor grandpa, my poor granddad, my poor dada, I call him, had to take time off of work and take me to children's in San Francisco. It was a cluster hell. Ooh, hello, Reach. But it was messed up. But that's one of the decisions I am very proud that I made myself, that to this day I think had I gone through it I would have screwed myself over. Children's at that time and the person I saw were very unorganized. The rooms were not cleaned between patients, and while I was in the room, surgery called down about another hip replacement surgery going on right then, and the doctor took the call, and the way she talked, she's like, well, just slice her open. Like, okay. Me, my Nana, and my Dada just looked at each other, and I'm like, you're not making me do this. You're not making me do this. Nope. We'll take a fuck no, I'm out of here for 500, please. So, they lost my x-ray for a little bit. Couldn't find it. And then when the x-ray finally appeared, she didn't explain anything. She said, well, there's your hip. I'm like, I've seen enough x-rays to know that's my hip. Obviously, there's a screw in it, holding it from when my hip fell out of place when I was 12. Obviously, that's my hip. But I want to know what the hell is going on with my hip. And I want to know if this is an immediate surgery thing, like, information, please. And I just my spoony senses were like, yep, no, we're not doing this. Nope. So we walked out, and Nana was just about to say something, and I looked at her and I said, I'm sorry, Nana, no, and please don't make me. And she looked at me and she's like, you know what, Muffy? I was just going to say the same thing. And I told her, it's like, if I have a feeling if I did the surgery here and if I did it now, I'd be walking out with a very screwed up hip. So we didn't go through with that. And then thankfully my physical therapist that, I'm like the third gen going to, stepped in and got me in with Dr. Bo. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. What other doctor? Definitely ran into some ER doctors with that attitude. In fact, I was about ready to kick this one ER doctor's ass with my mom because she wasn't listening to me, and they're going to treat my mom, and my mom was septic. Mama K wasn't Mama K. Mama K was acting like a kid, and it wasn't my mommy. It freaked me the hell out, and this was beyond my area of knowledge for medicine. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, but growing up with a mother who's an LVN and a thanatologist and bandaging my own wounds and knowing about the family medical and what they went through, I have some knowledge. So, she was out of it. Hallucinating, she scared the living out of me. So, the first hospital streeted her, even though I fought them, and said, just have her take her meds. She can't take her meds. She's throwing up constantly. So she's not giving enough time for the meds to settle in. So I was just frustrated. So I took her to a different ER when I was up with her all night. It was just scary, y'all. It was just really freaking scary. And, the one doctor there, her and I went rounds. Freaking rounds because she was just going to take the previous ER's advice and just send her home. So finally, I swallowed my pride and acted stupid. This is how much I love my mama. I acted like a complete bimbo. And I went round and round with her, round and round and round. It's my mom can't swallow. She can't keep her meds down. She pukes them straight back up. There's no way you can send her home. She needs IV. And I can't start an IV at home, and I can't, there's no way to get her medications in her. And these medications are important. Some of them for her heart. She's already had several heart attacks. This woman's going to die if you kick her out. And just her and I went rounds, and she didn't like me. She didn't know that I had decent hearing, and she didn't bother to close the door. So I heard her bitching to the nurses. I'm like, woman, the feeling's mutual. If I have to go to fucking prison to make sure my mom's admitted and gets the help she needs, I will do it. So she came in one more time and said, I was about ready just to stand up and start yelling. And if anyone, for the people who know me and personally, know that I don't like making a scene. I control my emotions, and I definitely try to control my very nasty temper. Believe it or not, I do have one, but I got a lot of practice in with reining that in. So I was about ready to unleash my temper and just go off on this woman. And then I was going to fly to anywhere around the hospital for any of the nurses or anyone who has talked to me and mom, who knew me and mom, because this hospital is our second home. And finally, one of the nurses, actually one of the lab techs that knew us, came in to draw our blood, and she looked at my mom and she's like, your mom's really sick. I'm like, yeah, It's what I've been trying to tell the doctor out there. She's not listening to me. Like, if she treats mom's going to die. Like, do something, please. And then finally, like, the doctor came in, and you can tell she was, like, irritated, and said that she found her a bed, but it wasn't here, it was in Santa Rosa. I said, I don't give a shit so long as she's admitted and so long as she gets the meds she needs. You can put her in San Francisco. I don't care. Just do something. So that's one of the ER doctors. Another one, and I am going to name his name this time because I'm pretty sure he's out of practice now, so I don't give a shit. Dr. Henning, orthopedic. This was back when I was 12. And I had fallen. And this wasn't too long after my hip had been screwed back into place. I was doing my homework, and I had dropped my pencil, and I went to go bend over and pick it up, and I took a tumble, and my hip was hurting. So my Nana freaked out, and we went to this hospital that was in town, Ukiah, and we went to the ER. First doctor we talked to, story time in between this, I'm sorry, y'all got to hear this. It's just too hilarious. The first doctor we saw was cool, but my Nana was trying to take my mind off of it because, you know, I'd spent so long in pain before someone finally figured out it was slip capital femoral epiphysis coming on with me. Misdiagnosis, growing pains from heteroradiology. He can suck my lady balls. So I was just so scared of being in that amount of pain again. So I was freaking out. It's like, oh my God, I messed up my hip. I'm going to be in that pain again. Like, I can't do this. I can't do round 2. There's no round 2 in me for that. Not right now. So I think I had my Teresa Barbie doll. And to distract me, because I didn't know how to crochet or knit back then. I wasn't into crafts. I was more like the outdoor sporty girl. So Nana, to distract me, because she knew I was freaking out, pointed out this doctor that was walking back and forth. I mean, he had long, cool hair and stuff, and then he wore it in a ponytail. I mean, his hair was down to almost his ass, which I found, like, really cool for a doctor. And she's like, you see that doctor over there, Muffy? I'm like, yeah. She's like, if he looks like a troll, acts like a troll, and walks like a troll, he's got to be a troll. Not 15 minutes later comes in that doctor and introduces himself. Hi, I'm Dr. Troll. How are you doing? My friend, I thankfully had the hair of my Teresa doll hiding my Snickers. My poor Nana had to go behind the privacy curtain, and my dada was a straight up chicken and used the excuse to go outside and have a cigarette, which my Nana was gonna kick his ass for. Yeah. He was cool. Poor guy. But so after the x-rays were done, excuse me, after the x-rays were done and everything, I'm being wheeled out in my wheelchair. And here comes this other orthopedic, Dr. Henning. And the way they had to screw my hip back into place, they were scared I was going to lose blood supply to my leg, therefore lose my leg. So they had to pin it in almost backwards and 4 inches shorter. Again, the head of radiology can suck my polycystic ovaries. Fucking dick. Anyways, sorry. And I only say that because if this had been caught sooner, I probably would have had less complications, less pain, you know, that type of thing. So, as I'm rolling out, my Nana's talking to Dr. Troll, and all of a sudden, here comes Henning. You know, my leg had I had to keep my leg crossed on another, foot rest of the wheelchair because that's how my hip was bent. And he came, he's like, you should keep your leg straight. And before I could say anything, he went and grabbed my leg and almost wrenched me out of the chair because he almost dislocated my hip. And my Nana said, she can't sit that way. Like, she can't sit that way. She can't sit that way. So he's like, yes, she can. Whoop, try it again. And finally, I started screaming. It's like, stop it. Like, I want to go home. Get me home. I'm done. And then there's doctors that are amazing. Dr. Bo. Dr. Bo was amazing. His bedside humor and manner is just incredible. I love it. Here's the secret, doctors. If any doctors are on here watching this, if you show some humor, some humanity, and just sit there and act like you're chatting with a friend and catching up, you're going to get so much more information out of your patients. It's going to be unbelievable. Even the minute things that might help you diagnose them. You'll get a lot more information. So, yeah. So Dr. Bo went above and beyond. He heard after my my hip replacement that I got a pulmonary embolism in my right lung and that I was admitted. So 1 a.m, he comes in and he's like, he puts his hand on my shoulder and he's like, honey, I am so sorry. I am so, so sorry, baby. And I'm like, it's okay, Dr. Bo, because, him and I went back and forth on the birth control, on stopping it, because I was worried about the withdrawal bleeds and what I was going to be able to do with this hip, if I was going to be able to move. I didn't know how I was going to be able to move. Like, I had forgotten what it was like to have a normal leg and how to move normally and not walk like a penguin and swing my leg out and be hunched over a wheelchair and a walker and a cane. And I just didn't know what I was going to do. And that's why I cut my hair shorter. So, we went back and forth. He's like, I should have just taken you off the birth control. And I said, well, I'm the one that kind of fought you on that. So it's both our doing. So I'm not mad at you. It's just something that happens. For those who don't know, any surgery below the waist is always a risk for blood clots. Always. So, yeah. So he came in, gave me a hug and said he was sorry, like 1 a.m, and I had been admitted like at 3. I had been admitted to the hospital at 3. And then like a couple of days later, he came in and checked on me, and he's like, well, I know your lungs are feeling crappy. How's your hip? And he's like, can you do this yet? And he started dancing around and shaking his ass, and he's awesome. And then there's doctors like Dr. O, who, after I was diagnosed with Hughes syndrome, aka APS, aka sticky blood syndrome, actually took the time to research all of my conditions and find a loophole. I can't ever take birth control again. I can't take Low-Overgalt again, even though I begged and said I'd be the idle patient and not vape, not smoke, and make sure like my pills are taken on time and my INR is continuous, and basically I'll bend over backwards just to get on that birth control again because it was fixing my PCOS. And, she said, I'm sorry, I can't, but here's what I can do. And she found spironolactone. Yes, it's a diuretic, but it's a diuretic with a bonus factor that it's also a testosterone blocker. And that's definitely what I have a little too much of, is the androgens and testosterone. Which kind of explains why I was a little bit of a tomboy. And I'm not the girly girl typical chick thing. No chick flicks for me. Bring on the horror films. But like doctors like that, she's just amazing. She's amazing. As for nurses, the first time I was admitted for my APS, but I didn't have the diagnosis then, for the blood clot, let's put it that way, the blood clot in my lung. There's this one nurse that was just a bitch. I'll flat out say it. She was a bitch. Like, I had gone through 17 years of straight up pain and eating through Vicodins, and it switched to Norco, but to me they're always Vicodins. And, the hard stuff, like the hard opiates, and, being on bed and couch rest, like, that is mental torture to someone like me. You can't take someone who is hella active and put them on bed and couch rest. It's torture. So, I was crying because of the setback. I was crying because I had to use the bathroom and I couldn't go because of the pain. I was crying because my freaking lungs hurt. It felt like someone was trying to pull out my ribs. And I tried to go and I was frustrated and I was tired and I heard to take a deep breath. It, just pain. And, I just started crying a little bit and she just left the room. And then when she came back, she's like, "You done yet?" I'm like, "Whoa, who pissed in your Wheaties?" So, thankfully, I only saw her once, but, the CNAs were awesome. There was two, that loved hanging in my room. Every time, the nurses came in, we'd talk ink, we'd talk about, what I was watching, and they hang around, they knew if they had to use the bathroom, and I saw them doing the pee-pee dance, I'd tell them, to go before I went. So I was kind of the favorite patient, and I was the cool room to hang out in. I loved them. The humor was amazing. The bedside was amazing, and it was just I didn't feel like I was in the hospital. It was comforting. The nurse is an outpatient. The one hospital that we call our second home, I feel like it's Cheers. Everyone knows us, and everyone comes up and gives us hugs. Mama and I are kind of famous there. Excuse me 1 second. Water because it's hot. People will just sit there and talk and get a laugh out of, because dealing with this many chronic illnesses and having no cures for them is some heavy talk. So I'll crack jokes about it, and I always crack jokes where the cafeteria is? I'm like, "Oh honey, this is my second home, we're good. I can tell anyone where the labs are, where this is, where that is. I can tell you where the shortcuts are." But the girls at registry, just doctors and nurses and CNAs that are just able to kick back and talk and not have a stick up their ass and have to think they have to act professional all the time. those people are the ones I love and like handling my care. I'm not sure if I told you that in my last vlog or not. I haven't really watched back to see. But Dr. Al, who did the HS removal around my lady bits, he came in before the surgery, and he was prepping me and everything and signing paperwork, and he looked up at me. He's like, "I'm so sorry, honey. I wish I could make this go away for you." And I'm like, "Thank you. I wish you could too, but you can't, so it just is what it is. And we'll have you manage." Sorry, like the parking meter girl was coming by. It scared me for a second. So, So I just told him, it's like, it's just a grin and bear it thing, and I'm glad that you're here being able to alleviate some of the issues I'm having. But he was a real sweetheart. There's a huge difference between these people. I love the ones that treat you like you're a human and you're not stupid. Because when it comes to your conditions and what you're feeling in your body, no one else is going to be able to know or pinpoint it or feel it. It's you. You're the one that lives with your body 24 hours every single day for the years you have lived, in the years you've dealt with these conditions. So in no way, shape, or form are you stupid when it comes to them. So, and YouTube, please don't copyright that. That was someone walking by. Please, 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 please. So, yeah. The bedside manners make all the difference. The humor makes all the difference. Of course, I got a bent sense of humor anyway, so. There's a reason why I joke that I'm the holy werewolf, and I don't mean holy as in divine, I mean holy as in Swiss cheese. So, I'm pretty much sure that is my topic of today. I'm going to let y'all go because I'm pretty sure it's time to get my butt back to the bone scan. I hope you have a flare-free day, and if you're in the middle of flare, I hope it's short-lived and you find some relief soon. And I will definitely try and catch you next time. As always, if you like what you see and hear, like and share. Even though I have a foul mouth. But I have people who love me anyway, so. And I'm bounce. Love you, spoonies. Catch you later. Bye.